Do you ever find yourself jumping to conclusions? I've gotten into more conflicts over time because I've rushed to judgment on something. I didn't have all the facts and I just rushed to judgment. So, step number 4 in resolving conflict the right way, dealing with difficult people, is to assume the best. That's hard to do. I remember one time I was supposed to bring some chairs to a friend's house for a party. And I showed up and he met me at the door and he said, "Ron, where are the chairs?" And I said, "Oh, I forgot. I'm so sorry." And he looked at me and said this just like this, "Well, that figures." And then he walked away. And I thought, well, what does he mean that figures? He thinks I'm no good. He thinks I can't follow through. He thinks I'm worthless. He thinks I'm incompetent. And then I thought, who does he think he is? And I started to build this case in my mind. And then I was standing around talking to some people and looking at him, talking to another group across the room, and they were smiling and laughing, and one of them looked over at me and started laughing some more, and I thought, he's telling them how worthless I am, how crummy I am, and they're all laughing about me, so they don't like me, so I'm not going to like him. And so I was tempted to start to talk to people about him. Now, is that not immature or what? But I was hurt, and I felt like he had was looking down on me, and even exploding that by talking to others. And so I decided I had 2 choices. One, I could go ask him what he meant, assuming the best, or number 2, I could let it go. I could simply not worry about it, not think about it, just let it go, forgive and forget. And frankly, out of cowardice, I forgave and forgot, I thought. But every time I would see him, I'd just be angry. You know what that's like? You see someone, they don't like you, so you're not going to like them back. And I was angry, a bit bitter, I think, toward him. And finally, it was driving me so nuts, I worked up the courage to go ask him what he meant. And I thought, this is going to be embarrassing because it was so obvious what he meant. So I walked up to him one day and said, "You know, the other day when I was at your house, and I forgot to bring those chairs, and you stopped me at the door, and you said that figure." And he stopped me there and said, "Ron, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that." And I said, "Well, that's what I thought, but you said it. So since you said it, I was just wondering what you meant." And he looked at me and said, "Ron, all day long I'd been in meetings. I had a terrible day, and in every meeting someone forgot something. It just figured." Do you get the point? What he was saying had nothing to do with me. It had everything to do with his day. But I wasn't liking him because I assumed the worst, that he wasn't liking me. And honestly, I would have gone to the grave probably not liking him and not perhaps even speaking well of him because of the immaturity of my approach. And I learned a very important lesson then. Assume the best. Don't jump to wrong conclusions. Understand the other person's side. So if you have a question about the way someone looks at you or doesn't look at you, or you heard someone said something about you from that person, then go to the person and ask him, but assume the best. Love thinks the best, and that's what you're to do. Don't have a vain imagination about it. Assume the best.